Soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yo, what's going on, people, man? We're back in the building. Hope everybody's blessed. Hope everyone's doing well. Good morning. Good morning to all, man. Hope everyone had a good night's sleep. Obviously, we are on Friday. Halloween is now done. Get these pagans away from my door. You know what I'm saying? Like, tired of people knocking on the door asking silly questions about. You know what's crazy? Just funny thing. People weren't even, not like some of the people anyway. They're not even knocking, asking for sweets. They're asking for money. I said, money. What do you mean asking for money? Man said, have you got change? Have you got what?
You know what it is? All it takes is one individual, to give a brother £1, and it changes the. You mess it up for everyone else. That Mars bar, that small little Mars bar you might have had in your cupboard, now it's worth nothing, bro. It's worth nothing. They don't want that anymore. They want £1.
Bro, I'm saying, are you asking for change, bro? Jerry, honestly, I was so like, bro, it's so mad because like. Obviously, where I got like little man, so obviously he's so forward, like he wants to like open, like when he hears the door, he always thinks it's food or something along those kind of lines. So he's ready to,
bro. How many did you order, bro? For him to,
bro, it's not
with food. Not like one might be coming.
Nah, because like, you know what it is, yeah, because he's always like, if when I'm down south, sorry, like if I order from like Just Eat or whatever. For some weird reason, we always seem to get like more or less the same brother. Like it always just happens to be either him or like this other guy who'll always come to the door. So, and where every time he comes to the door, he'll always like chat to my son if I come to the door with like my son or whatever. So they're always like chatting or whatever. He thought it was like him. I think his name is, I want to say his name's like Gary or something like that. He's like, oh, it's Gary.
Like, yeah, it's outside the door having a chat about his day and that.
Bro, about his day, like just dumb stuff, yeah. So he's thinking it's food, but these times he's only thinking it's food, yeah, because I've given him something to eat for dinner. He didn't want to eat that. So where he didn't want to eat that, like that specific food, obviously, he just left it there, and I thought, okay, cool, whatever. That's your dinner, whether you like it or not. So he either eat it or don't eat it. Anyways, the doorbell rang, and it's just like a group of like maybe between 14 and 16 they kind of look like. So obviously I'm peeping through the hole, and I can see like they're not even dressed up though. They're just in like normal like night techs and all of them kind of things. I was thinking like, who's kind of not good? But obviously to even get in the building, someone would have needed to have let you in it. It's not that many flats inside. Anyways, when they've obviously come to the door, I'm thinking like, so obviously I'm getting prepared just in case it's, you know what I mean, like a mad thing or whatever. Anyways, when I've opened the door. I've opened the door now. And when I've opened the door, obviously I'm standing there with my son's like just behind the door, innit? Like he's just peeping through to see who it is. And then they were like, oh, like trick or treat. And it's so joke because you can hear the broken voices, like, oh, trick or treat. And I'm thinking like, I'm just looking, I'm looking at them thinking, what? He's like, oh, have you got any change? Have you got any change? I said, brother. Like, as soon as I said, brother, they were like, nah, sorry, boss, sorry, but I just said, bro, I'm not giving you change. Like, get out of it, man. Fucking stupid, man. But anyway, that's the funny story that I had. Good morning to all. Jerry, how are you doing this morning? Anyways, bro, how are you,
man? I'm calm, man. I'm calm. Is where it is. I'm heading to Charlton today, 1 o'clock. Yeah, so I'm there. But yeah, just before I head off, comfy, doing some work. Hopped on a bit. Let's trip up Liverpool, man. Brighton, round 2, isn't it?
Round 2, fight. Come on, bro. Obviously, Liverpool won the first round, as we already know, in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, now we're into the Premier League. And of course, Liverpool need to get back to, winning ways as well. Obviously drawing against Arsenal in the last game. Of course, we didn't lose the game or anything. We're only a point off of the top of the table, to Manchester City. So as I thought and as I assumed, Manchester City back to, where they probably believe they belong. Big up everybody inside, man. Big up everybody inside. Big up Doug as well. Hope you are doing blessed, guys. Please make sure you head on over to the Doug Out Football channel. Subscribe. Jerry, you know what's crazy? Just because I heard that meow, at least your cat, I mean, only on stream, and I don't know where you put your cat when we're streaming. At least your cat doesn't sound like it bothers you. This cat bothers, man, on a consistent basis. It's ridiculous. You didn't tell me this part.
Well, what do you mean bother you? In what way? Like you're getting on a computer and that? Like jumping on the computer?
I can't sit down and eat without this cat trying to nibble at my feet or my socks, or like jumping up everywhere. And obviously, where he's so young, like he thinks everything I'm doing, I'm playing. So like
you move your foot, all of a sudden, you're trying to play. Yeah.
And okay, so CDs, yeah. Say like obviously you have to plug this obviously into the laptop. Let's just say like it's dangling. Let's just say like this is the thing.
It's curtains. You can't let that dangle.
Bro, I'm like, bro, I'm not playing with you. Like, I'm just trying to.
That's predatory instinct, bro. There's nothing you can do about that. You know, like they're thinking that's a rat tail or something. Yep, I'm on that. Yeah, I mean,
bro, but he's got his. You know what I'm saying? He's got his like. We got the.
It's not moving like that though. When you're moving it like that, it's like Ross is trying to hide.
Jerry did warn me, bro. Like Jerry did tell me. I think Costa starts at left back. Obviously, of course, we'll get into that. Hollywood Rock K's out until after international break. Waste of bloody time. Yeah. I listened to the press conference this morning. It was boring. So yeah, it was nothing really.
When are they not boring? Though? When are they not boring? I don't know. Like if I was ever a journalist that said you got to go to that press conference, I'd be like, unless there's some juicy beef or something, bro. This is dead, man. This is, bro, just let me work from home, bro. Why am I going to Liverpool?
That's it. Why am I going to Liverpool? But nah, man, big up everybody, of course, inside Hollywood Rock. Big up Enz as well in the chat. Guys, this will be redirected. Enz has got a stream. He's doing the preview at 12 o'clock. We will be done before then. Jerry, now, obviously, I've only watched the highlights. Oh, look, he's gone. I was going to say, I've only watched the highlights. Again, I didn't even bother going back to watch the full game, to be honest, of the match. We won 3-2, nothing too special, nothing too, extreme. But you're back, yeah?
You know what it is? I'm swiping my Mac, yeah, because there's hair on it, cat hair, that pisses me off. So I'm just like this. And as I did that, I swiped the D-pad and it just went back in it. Like it went back a page. So I was like, as you said, Jerry, I just went.
So we start again. Jerry. So obviously I didn't watch the game, the full game back. I know you guys like I always say to people, these guys in the chat, they're my updates. If I can't watch a game, they'll let me know kind of thing as to what's kind of going on, how the game's looking, etc. In terms of the game, obviously against Brighton, he obviously made those changes, a few players coming in, players who hadn't really played, players like Tyler Morton, Connor Bradley coming back, Cody Gakpo, starting with Luis Diaz. The jokes in the chat about the Diaz and the Gakpo, we'll get onto that in a sec. But in terms of the game in itself, do you think that obviously heading into this game, we're going to see some similarities between the way Brighton and Liverpool play?
Yeah, I think style-wise, this is going to be a very, very similar game. Brighton have a certain way that they want to go and play. Liverpool have a certain way that they want to go and play. The difference was that one team, for me, has a bit more quality, especially when they're rotating the tiny piece. And then, of course, one team's just better in general, just been better this season. So that's what it was. Like I don't know. I'm so comfortable with Slot right now. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered at who plays. I'm not. Yeah, like we go a goal down. I'm not really fussed. Like I'm not panicking because there's no panic. There's no panic. If there's no panic on the manager, if I'm not looking at him scratching his head, not knowing what to do, then I just trust the guy. And so far, we've drawn one game and lost one game.
No,
I mean, if you look at what Brighton have lost two of their last 5 games, and drawn one as well. So only 1-2. They started off well, but they're just kind of just going back to type in it. Like they're not good. They're going to be there or thereabouts in terms of the top half of the table. How high they're going to obviously get to is another matter. But we don't expect Brighton to be there. I think it's going to be a very similar game. Very, very similar game, just with the starters playing this week, innit? That's it.
No, man. No, I hear it, and I'll tell you guys this year. I can tell because obviously me and Jerry, we chat a lot, and I can tell, the way that you speak about Klopp, the way you speak about Slot, sorry, Yeah, there's like a level of calmness, like even when I feel like me and Jerry will be talking in the group, yeah, we'll be going back and forth, like, and I'll be saying, nah, but I don't really feel it, but Jerry will just be like, yeah, but it's, you know what I mean, it's calm, innit? Like, you know what I mean, like, and then we win the game, you know, more
like,
often
no,
than
you're
not,
like,
to
oh,
be
bro, they're
honest.
having too many chances. I'm like, yeah, but they're not scoring. That can,
Yeah, that. You know when you know if anyone is ever okay, if anyone's you see movies where psychiatrists, you know, they're in therapy or whatever, and they're talking, and they're always talking this like soft voice, like as if to say like talking in a soft voice is gonna allow me to open up even more for some weird reason. Like, yeah, so okay, so you just tell me
it's
about.
mad though. Thing is, it's mad. It does though, because you know, imagine you're wiling out and someone just like, but relax though, but relax. There comes a point. It might not be that session, but it'll be the next session where you're like, but why am I shouting? I'm looking mad now. You know, I'm walking at the reception and there's only one voice that's been screaming. After I just like, brother, look, I just don't like the way she does this. You know, I don't like the way my wife does this. Ah, there we go. We're at the crux of the problem now.
Nah, bro, I'm just thinking about it. Like every time I watch a movie or whatever, anytime it's like, so just tell me about your day. Just tell me about your relationship between you and
I
your
don't want
husband.
to fucking tell you about my relationship.
Yeah, and then it's like it's almost like they just bring you down to a level. But anyways, guys, you know, forget all of that funny stuff. Obviously, he spoke in the press conference. As Jerry said, his thing is boring. I'm really starting to question, you know, the qualifications needed in order for you to actually get, you know, in the room with someone like Arne Slot. Someone's phone even went off during the thing. But I'm professional on that. It was crazy. Obviously, he spoke about the injuries. He spoke for the first time in ages. They actually asked him about the other manager and about the way that Brighton played. In all the other previous press conferences, it's just been so contract. Okay, injuries, and then that's it. We leave. We don't even know what he thinks about the other guy. But he spoke about, you know, the Brighton manager, you know, being so young, you know, managing in the Premier League, the experience or lack of experience that he's obviously had, the way that Brighton play. He spoke about, you know, a couple of the players that Brighton didn't use and the players that, you know, he didn't use in the game. So, yeah, outside of that, guys, honestly, we know Jota. You guys can see the injury list there. We know Jota, he's out. Allison, of course, he's out. Chiesa, out until after the international break. Harvey Elliott, again, you know, the same thing. So, nothing really too new in regards to that. If I'm being totally honest with you, I think the squad that you saw against Brighton the other day, obviously minus a few players, that's going to be the same squad that we've got. We haven't got anything fresh in terms of injuries. And Brighton, it seemed like, from what I've checked anyway, unless someone knows of anything different, this is kind of the same for Brighton. Adam Webster's obviously out. James Milner, João Pedro, obviously a massive miss for them. Lewis Dunk, again, might be a bit doubtful for the game. He'd be a massive miss. Matthew O'Reilly, Solly March. God, I ain't seen Solly March play in time for some weird reason. I don't know if he's been injured this whole time, but I ain't seen him for time. And Yankuba Mintis. So, yeah, they've got a few injuries. I can't even lie. They've got a few injuries. Obviously, the players that I believe that they will start, obviously, at the weekend, Danny Welbeck being one of them. Jerry, man, chat to me about this brother Wells, man. We've seen this brother, Manchester United, Arsenal, now obviously moved to Brighton. We thought it's one of them type of signings where you sign the old head, he doesn't really play, bro, this guy seems to be on job for Brighton. And he seems to be quite I would say anyway, I don't know if you'd agree, but he seems to be quite important in the way that the attack kind of works, man. How do you kind of see him obviously coming up against potentially a Virgil and Konate?
If we're being honest about Welbeck, he's been important. Anytime he's been fit, he's been important. When he was coming through at United, he was playing a lot of games for United, you know. It's not like he was getting garbage minutes. He was starting a lot of games for United. Was important for what they were doing.
Got into the England squad as well.
Got into the England squad rugby. He was important for what they were doing. Yeah, I'm not saying he was the main guy, but he was important. Then went to Arsenal. When he was fit for Arsenal, he was a problem. That guy Welbs. That's what the man were calling him. That guy Welbs. Yeah. The injuries kind of prevented him being able to like solidify himself at Arsenal. I think he's gone to Watford, had like mad injuries as well, but kind of came to his fore to the back end of that kind of tenure. He's at Brighton now. He's just doing well, man. He does the basics well. He's strong. He can hold up the ball. He's experienced. He seems an intelligent player in terms of the runs he makes, where he gets the ball, when he drops in, and he's been a problem, man. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how he how he deals with a Konate and Virgil, because physically they're going to be stronger than him, or not necessarily stronger than him, but it's going to be a battle. How is he going to be dropping in those pockets to really affect the centre backs? Because obviously running in behind, that's not him anymore. He's impressed me. I think that's it's gonna be an interesting little tussle, man. Obviously, scoring goals for fun right now. If I actually have a look,
he's got 6 goals this season. So
yeah,
6 goals in 9 games, boy. Okay, no.
Yeah, it's a joke. He's 33.
He's 33. Yeah, he is.
He's 33. When you look at it, yeah. So like, look, he's never got numbers like that. Like what I mean by he's been important for what the team's doing, but he's never got numbers. You know, sometimes he played on the left when he was younger. Sometimes he played on the right. He played down the centre. He was just all over the place. But for Brighton, he's turned up and he's got 30 goals and over 100 appearances. 1 in 3, innit?
For Brighton, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent as well, considering.
For Brighton, it's all right. This season he started well. He's more about bringing players into the team, but he's in a good hot run of form. And credit to him, man, because you know after that stint at Watford where he got 2 goals, you're thinking, yeah, this guy's going to be a pony. Yeah. He's keeping Evan Ferguson out of the team, and Evan Ferguson was the guy that was supposed to be the guy, you know, like that up front. So look, credit to him, and yeah, let's just hopefully you don't pop off against us at Liverpool, innit?
Nah, facts, man. One player who usually plays pretty well against Liverpool, and he's a very, very good player. Quite a player that quite a lot of people. I don't know if it's stereotypical, but just like Heung-min Son, they're just players that you just like for whatever reason. You know, they don't cause problem in that kind of way where you're like, oh, I hate this guy. Everyone just seems to like him. That's obviously Matoma. We know Matoma has previous against Liverpool. The Ice Spice situation, that season was it was a bit of a madness. But obviously, looking at Matoma, again, started the season pretty well as well, by his own standards. I'm not going to say I know. I think last season, did he miss quite a few games because of injury? I feel like this brother was injured a bit last season. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, I didn't really feel like I saw him too much anyway last season. And obviously last season for Brighton, the Zerbi and everything that was just kind of going on there. And obviously just the way that Brighton performed overall, just, wasn't really up to par. And obviously they're getting back to that level. But Matoma, man, think he's a good player? Is he a player that you would sign for your club?
Yes, he's my type of winger. He's more in the mold of a Luis Diaz. When I want my winger to be a very creative, have a vivid imagination. His technique, is so good. It's like him, Son, like they touch the ball in the right way. They step over it the right way. Like there's actually an account on TikTok here that I follow, and that's a bit off time. But it's just these Asian brothers, and they're doing all these tricks, and they're so similar. But it's like they've studied, like they're all Japanese and stuff, but they've all studied. Like when I touch it, I step over here, then I go here, and all the mechanics are so good. He just looks. He's a pleasure to go and watch. Now, his story is something that, for me, I really, really like. The fact that he went to university, was playing uni football, like a lot of man, and then is now, do you know what I mean, at the age of 27. Going to be 28 this season, playing for Brighton, playing in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean, linked with bigger clubs and bigger moves. It's really, really good to see, man. Really, really good to see. I really like him. I would have him in the team. I think he gives you a different option. He can run in behind. He can get it to feet. He can come centrally. He can score goals. He can assist. I think in a better team, he probably does well. Is he the guy to, like, would I take him to, take over Salah's mantelpiece and be the starter, main guy for Liverpool? Is he at that Son level? No, I don't think so. But a very, very good player. And on his day, he can kill teams by himself.
No, 100%, man. I mean, this season, in terms of stats, in terms of numbers, he's only got 2 assists and he's got himself a goal as well. And obviously, we remember the season before, where he was doing really, really well for Brighton, obviously helping them to get into the Europa League. Yeah, this is when they had McAllister, Caicedo, and all of this kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, I think with Brighton, those are the two players anyway. I mean, listen, there's other players as well, if people want to include them, who can cause Liverpool a bit of a problem, in the game. But there was one thing. Now, obviously, as I said, I only watched the highlights, but I listened to quite a lot of people speak about, the game in terms of the tactical sense. And one of the things that they mentioned in the game, so this is obviously the average positions against Brighton. One of the things that they mentioned was about how high and wide someone like Connor Bradley was in the game. And you guys can obviously see in terms of the positioning anyway, obviously how high and wide he is. But also look at the left-hand side. Everything is kind of geared towards that way, where there's a big bunch of players. I don't know who that is. What, Robertson, Morton, Curtis Jones, I think. Yeah, number 17. They're all basically standing next to each other. And then you've got a little bit of a gap. And then you've obviously have got, Cody Gakpo. And then we've got the kind of false nine that we kind of played. Obviously, we played with the 2 10s because we didn't have a natural strike on the pitch. So I felt like that was kind of interesting. Looking at it from that kind of way, the fact that we're able to score the 3 goals, without a natural, genuine striker up front, I felt like that kind of boded well, and especially against a Brighton team. Again, we know what Brighton are about. Like they're so meticulous with certain things that they do. Yes, they will have games, they concede goals and all that kind of stuff. Yes, we've seen them play the high line against a Chelsea and all of these kind of things. But Jesus Christ, they're one of those teams that if you're off the pace, I feel like they will just cook you. Like they'll score 5 past you if you're just off the pace a little bit. Only problem with them, I feel, is that, and it's working a little bit this season, but not so much, is that they have their way of playing, which everybody should do. Everyone's got their own way of playing, whatever that might be. The only problem I only ever see for Brighton is that you don't always change it when the time is kind of needed. Whereas for Slot, from what I'm seeing anyway, he seems to be changing it sometimes even mid-game, half-time. He's saying, brother, all right, you see this 4-2-4, the way we're in, no, okay, well, we need to go back to a 4-2-3-1, or we need to go into a 4-4-2, or we need to go into a 4-1-4, whatever it might be. Like, he's just changing it, mid-game. And that's always what I feel like the fault is, kind of with Brighton. But again, you watched the game, Jerry. Did we play well? Did you think, the football was good? Or, like, who impressed you kind of thing, like, in your eyes anyway?
I didn't, to be fair, I watched the game, but it was a weird one. Like I was watching the game, I had to go to my mum's house, watching it at my mum's house. Then I had to get in the car and I was watching it on my phone, but I'm not watching it properly. Then I go in a tunnel, so I don't watch it for a bit, and then I'll come out and see it's 1-0. So it was just, I didn't properly watch it like that. Brighton, obviously talking about Brighton, I think Brighton have got a problem, right? They haven't got the best players, and they don't. So when you're trying to play a certain style, it's like it has to be really, really, really like on point. Like as soon as there's like a mistake, they haven't got the equivalent of like a De Bruyne that can pull something out of nothing, or like a Trent that can just pull a pass out of nothing when he's having a poor game. So they need to all be on point. When Brighton click, it's curtains. They're one of the best teams in the league for me, like in terms of how they build up, how they can break down teams, because everyone's on it. If, for example, someone is not comfortable, like if someone doesn't get the ball or their touch is a bit off, other players aren't going to be able to really compensate for that. And that's why they're kind of middle of the kind of way team. I think if you had like Brighton, or you see it with Chelsea got a bit more quality. They're playing very similar. They're still in the beginning of the process, but look how well they've been playing since they against City. You can see they can play a certain way because they've got that quality. They've got players that can, like a Cole Palmer, that can do something out of nothing, that can change the dynamic with a great pass or with some ingenuity. When you're talking about Liverpool, I think they played. Look, I think Liverpool played well, innit? You had a lot of changes in there. You had Diaz playing on the right. You had Bradley that came in. You had Kwanzaa that came in. You had Gomez that came in. You obviously had Tyler Morton that came in. You had Endo that came in. So a lot of changes. And the fact that Liverpool was still able to go and play in the style that resembled what the first team were trying to do, I think is very, very like positive to see, because it means that in a short amount of time, these guys haven't had game time, but they're all on the same page more or less when it comes to how we're going to play at the back, how we're going to play, how's the midfield going to rotate and stuff like that. I liked Morton. You can see he wasn't sharp, but I liked what he was about. I think he's very, very comfortable. You can see if he had more minutes, more game time, he could definitely be an option off the bench. Kwanzaa's Kwanzaa. I think he's good. I just think he's just lacking a bit of confidence right now. Gomez was Gomez. Bradley was
talking about Kwanzaa quite a bit. Like from again, but the way people talking about him, they were like, "Bro, he was shit." I was like, "Right, like was he?" I don't. Well, obviously, I can't really tell by highlights.
Like one of the goals, it deflected off Joe Gomez, and then Kwanzaa missed it. So like the guy's shot, it's hit off Joe Gomez, made it divert, and then hit off Kwanzaa. So it's like you couldn't really do anything there. I had a couple mistakes in there and stuff, but I expect it in it. Like he's a young kid. Like we say it all the time, Virgil van Dijk weren't playing at this level at his age, innit? Like he was able to make mistakes at Groningen or at Celtic where no one could see it. So no, I think look, it was a fine performance, innit? It was a fine performance. I didn't have any like issues like that. They didn't look that dangerous. Brighton really. But defensively, we just weren't as solid. And obviously that's the personnel, that's structurally the defensive, the team weren't that great. And yeah, that's about it. Obviously, we can chop up like the wingers and stuff. I know some people had some things to say about wingers. I saw, you know,
you know what? Let's even before we get to before we even get to the McAllister stuff that I wanted to talk about, chat to me about the whole, obviously Gakpo, Diaz. Obviously they both played, right? And of course, this season, what we've seen more so is obviously Diaz. He started the season. He's the one who's been, you know, on form and stuff like that. Cody Gakpo's come in. He's done reasonably well in most of the games, to be honest. Maybe a couple of not so much, but he's done okay in other games, right? And obviously, big up Roms because he calls in the Carabao Cup Gakpo. And obviously, there's a reason for that because he gets in most of his goals there. In terms of the two, and obviously, we'll allude to the lineup in a minute when we go through it. In terms of the two, how are you kind of seeing it? Because obviously the way Slot's been talking about it, like he kind of sees it as like they're both regular starters, but obviously, I mean, technically speaking, Diaz is the regular starter because he's the one who's starting all the time, and then Gakpo's coming in for these like cup games and every now and again, and you know, etc., etc. But how do you kind of see it? You know, with the two of them, obviously, do you see it as like I know Harris was saying, you know, healthy competition and stuff like that? Obviously, I know you side more with Diaz. He sides more, obviously, due to his Dutch heritage. He sides more, you know, with Cody Gakpo and stuff like that. But how do you kind of see it? Like, do you think there's a clear, would I say, left winger in the team, or is it like closer than, you know, what people are saying?
I don't think it's close, because when you think about it, like, not to say it's close, because I think it's not like a gap. If you're to compare like Salah and like Doak, I don't think it's like a clear gap like that. I think there is some overlap. I just think there's a big game. If Liverpool are playing Man City tomorrow, Diaz starts. I don't think that's even a question. I don't think he goes, maybe we play gap. I don't think he does that. Purely because Diaz is for 1v1. It's what he wants. So ideally, the way Slot wants to play, he wants to isolate the fullbacks as much as possible, right? Mm-hmm. 2 seconds. Let me just do. I've got a call coming through. 2 seconds.
Do it. But I mean, Jerry will expand on that point anyway. But yeah, it does seem like the way that he wants to isolate the wingers. So Salah, he wants him to be 1v1, you know, at times. So we'll see, you know, Keller or Alisson, whoever, Van Dijk, they'll ping the ball out to him, and it's just about that 1v1 battle. Not necessarily in terms of taking him on or anything like that. It's just more about, you know, can we get the ball up the pitch? When we're talking about Salah, he's like the target man over on that side. But when we do look at that left-hand side with Gakpo and Diaz, in terms of the way that both players play, I do think that he does prefer, in my opinion anyway, and again, it could change very, very soon, but in my opinion, I see it as like Diaz is the one that he wants on that side because of what he offers in those 1v1 battles. You know, he seems to be a better 1v1, you know, kind of specialist, you know, if we're talking about between the two players. Whereas Gakpo, I don't really look at Gakpo like that. I don't look at him as like, oh, he's good 1v1. He's quite a, I don't want to use Jerry's term, and I'll rather let Jerry do that. But I don't want to say like basic in that kind of way, but he's very, he's just very straightforward at what he does. Now, I'm not saying what he does isn't good, because clearly he got 2 goals the other night. He's scoring goals, this season and etc. So it clearly works for someone like a Gakpo. But I just think that at times, especially when you're trying to isolate, their right back, I think you'd rather have Diaz in that kind of position as opposed to, a Cody Gakpo. That's just my opinion, on the matter, but that's just the way I kind of see it, with Slot at the moment. But at the same time, if you've got 2 players who are, vying for that one position, it's like a good and a bad thing. I always say this here with teams. I always like to, like, me personally anyway, I always feel like teams are usually better when you know who's going to kind of play. Not all the time, yes. If you're a manager like a Pep Guardiola, for example, who might chop and change in like a random game, you think, all right, why did he start Doku today? Or why did he start Grealish today? Or why did Grealish play the first, 3 matches? And, etc., etc. That's fine. If that's the, the type of manager that you are. But more often than not, and let's take, Pep Guardiola out of the equation, more often than not, top managers, top teams, winning teams, they're going to have an 11 more or less that you kind of know. And if it's not an 11, there's at least 7 or 8 players in there that boom, he's always going to play. Like, or he is the main star, i.e. if we do have a big game tomorrow, it's a cup final, who's the one who's going to start, in whatever position. I kind of prefer that. I don't really always like I get the chopping and changing to a degree, and only really just if players are looking a little bit tired. That's the only kind of reason. But if we're talking, we got an important game tomorrow, I probably would, at this moment in time, I probably would go with someone like a Luis Diaz, at this moment in time. But again, that's not to say Cody Gakpo can't, come on and, potentially do his thing. We got Aaron. When they both play, he puts Diaz on the right when there's no. So yeah, and that's obviously what what he did the other day. And I don't disagree with that. Of course, if Salah's not there, there's no Chiesa as well. There's no Jota. We need someone to play on the right. So again, that kind of made sense. Nunes obviously was able to be on the bench for the game as well. So yeah, you've got those kind of options. If I'm being totally honest with you, you have got those options. Big up, Carl. Love for the super chat, my bro. Hope you're doing well this morning. Morning and afternoon, my brothers. Mad Halloween story. Similar story. Got a youth saying, I'm stingy with the candy and very basic. Big game for us. It's like I said, man. I don't know when things changed. Like, maybe I've just been out of the loop. But we've had years, obviously, of Halloween. But I don't remember people asking for money. I do find that a little bit weird. But hey, it is what it is. But love for the super chat, by the way, Carl. And you're right, it is a relatively big game for us. And Brighton are going to have their better players back, for this game. I don't think we're going to see, some of the players that we saw, play the other day. But also, we are the same. And of course, we have been knocked down in the league in terms of gone from first to second. Manchester City are now top. So yeah, we're going to want to, rectify that. I don't know who they've got actually this weekend. I'll be interested to see. Good sign he's getting a tune out of both of them. Yeah, obviously, of course. Listen, for now, it's not too much of an issue. It's really, really not too much of an issue. Like, you know what I mean? It's not one of those where, oh yeah, well, this player's not really playing well and etc. etc. Like I said, I just like I said, it's for me. It's like the rest of the attack is kind of like. And again, listen, look, I guess every team's like that. Aston Villa is like that. Man City are like that. Arsenal are like that. Yeah, like every team is kind of that way, where you got one superstar up front, whether that's on the right, left, middle, and then the other 2 players who play either side.
It's very rare to get a situation where you had Mane, Salah. Do you know what I mean? Neymar, Suarez. Like, it's very rare to get that. Yeah. What do you think? Do you look at them and you're like, I don't care who plays, or do you have one where you're like, nah, but like, even though I feel like he's not the Salah level, he's got to start.
If I had to pick between the 2, I'll pick Diaz. I would pick Diaz, especially based off of this season. You see, I'll be honest. The problem for me is that I do look at both players and just think, you're all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're okay. Like, the thing is, I couldn't tell you someone else who I would take in place, really and truly. That's the problem. Is that I can't really think of many names off the top of my head like that in terms of left wingers, especially. I don't really feel like that market is popping if you're not Mbappe or fucking Vinicius Jr. So the market is kind of mad. But if I had to pick between the two, yeah. Maybe. I mean, Diaz is older, so I don't know if you feel like
you know what it is with me with Diaz. He's just a bit more. You know, like I don't look at Gakpo, yeah. You know, like I know for a fact players in training will look at Diaz and be like, "Nah, like this guy's ridiculous." Whether you think
I can imagine, on a
consistent basis or not, you'll be like, "This guy's a player." I don't think no one looks at Gakpo like that. I genuinely feel like he's just a good professional. He's fast, he's strong, he's got a lot of attributes that you can exploit. But when you're Liverpool and you're sitting with a low block and you can't kill teams on transition, then I don't see him really affecting it. He's not going to be like, you know, we've seen Diaz, like there'll be 3-man, he pretends to go inside, cuts back in, and all of a sudden he ends up like inside the box trying to square passing. Now, whether he delivers that pass or something is a different question. Gakpo's on the outside. He has to play on the outside because of his attributes. So he's like, unless there's space, and when you looked at like the games against Brighton, there's space, right? There was space to run into where he scored his goals. There's space. When you saw, you know, Gakpo against United when he went and scored those goals and he's making those runs, there's space in behind and he can hit a shot. He's got a ridiculous shot. I think that's one thing where people are like, yeah, he can shoot the ball. Do you know what I mean? Like Gakpo's got a shot on him. But if there's no space, he doesn't really do anything to break down teams. And that's why I think Gakpo starts on the bench, because what happens, you bring him on when the game starts to get stretched. When a team's going for it, then he can go and kill you. Same way I don't think Núñez would be a starter for Liverpool, purely because when there's no space, you have to have a bit more, you've got to be a bit more cute in those areas. Like, I'll give it to you here, flip around the corner. Yep. I'm going to get inside his pocket. I'm going to be in between two centre-backs or the full-back and the centre-back, and it's mad tight. When Gakpo goes in there, he's too big. That's why I think even for Holland, he's played up front. And the only time he played out wide for me was when Holland done this whole thing where they sat back and tried to hit teams on a counter. And when there was space in behind, he can kill plays because he's got, again, he's a good player. I'm not saying he's a bum. I don't think he's rubbish. But it's like, I don't know, since that first season, I haven't seen anything from him.
No, I don't even somewhat disagree, especially with that. Like Diaz, even though he's been excuse me, got a bit cold. Even though Diaz has been injured, even though he's had that whole kidnap situation, all of that kind of stuff, right? I still think that Diaz has impressed me more at Liverpool than Cody Gakpo. I don't think Cody Gakpo is really, and listen, look, you might say whatever you want to say, really and truly, actually, different positions, not playing his rightful, but all of that kind of stuff. And that's fair. I'm not going to argue with anybody who thinks that, but he hasn't really impressed, if I'm being honest. And yeah, he's not someone I'm comfortable with, in our attack in that kind of way. Do you know what I mean? If it's like for a long sustained period of time, I'd rather just have Diaz, potentially in there. Let's take a look just before we get to the lineup. Obviously, I saw Slot talking about McAllister. I heard Slot talking about McAllister. Obviously talking about McAllister's position. This is just a little snippet of what he said. He's a player I would play in all three midfield positions. As he's that comfortable. I saw him a lot at Brighton and a lot as a double 6 and number 10. He can play both positions. He plays a bit in between now. He can make a difference at both ends. Have you been impressed with McAllister this season?
Just a body in there, man. A body. I agree. I think he's comfortable enough to play all the positions. Again, even from last season, I know he played in the 6. I expected him to control games a bit more. And I think even this season, I look at him and I'm like, I had you in the mold of like a Jabi Alonso, Pascal, Gross, at a different level, Cruz, those types of midfielders, isn't it? Where you're controlling the tempo of the game. I don't think he does that, man. And he's like a terrier almost. He's like breaking up plays, pressing. He's
Gary Medell used like
like Gary Medell and that. Yeah, man. It was just a bit like good player. I think he's got ability. Is he my type of number 10? No. There's different types of number 10. I don't think he's nippy enough to be my type of number 10 for me. He's not like an Erdegaard where he's all waxing like all stuff. he probably suits being in the 8 a bit more, like in between the 6 and the 8, like the link man, like a Javi, as opposed to an Iniesta. But then, is he controlling games though? That's my problem.
I wouldn't say no. He's definitely not controlling games.
And that's what I look at, and I'm like, are you having a good season then? Like, that's what I want from you. Again, Slot might want something else, but someone's asking me, is he having a good season? He's having a calm season. It's all right. It's calm.
No. Listen, man.
I mean, it's one of those ones where when he's been out of the team, we haven't missed him.
I can't remember when he's really been out, but
when Jones came,
really lost.
Remember when I think it was Jones started ahead of him against Chelsea.
No, didn't he play?
No, Szoboszlai. He came on after, innit? Jones started. It was Jones Szoboszlai.
No, was it?
Yeah.
Gravenberch, Jones.
Yeah, McAllister, because after international break, and McAllister and Diaz didn't start, did they? It was Gakpo.
Oh, yes. Sorry. My mind literally just went blank for like 2 seconds. But
yes, that's what it is for me. It's just a bit like, he came in, the conversation was, Jones needs to start instead of Szoboszlai. Maybe he should start instead of McAllister. I don't think I'm looking at him like, he's playing so well, man. He's undroppable.
Like, are you saying it's like last season where we were like, fucking hell, we almost can't play without him almost being in the team in terms of what he was doing towards the latter end.
Yeah,
the latter end.
I don't think he's playing like that. I don't think he's at that level. I think that's fair to say.
And that's mad because I obviously played towards that end. He played well, but if he's not even at that level, which I didn't think was even like world class, I'm not saying he has to be. If he's not even at that level, it's a bit mad, though. Like, to be honest, that's a bit bad. Like, if you're not even at that level, like, consistently.
Again, I just feel like he should be one that's dictating play, where he's getting it more than any other player, like Pirlo, like Modric, like Cruz, like whatever. That's how I rate him. Is he doing that? No. If he's doing the running thing, is he better than Jones and Szoboszlai and even Elliott at that? Probably not.
Listen, it's going to be real interesting here.
I don't know.
When Elliott actually comes back into the team, that's going to be a real fun conversation, like, as to, who starts and stuff like that. But let's get to the lineup. Let's get to our lineup prediction. So obviously I've already kind of put in a few of the players because I said, I've not heard anything that these guys wouldn't play. So yeah, we'll keep these guys in. Obviously, there's Keller, the 2 centre backs, Gravenberch and Mohamed Salah. So let's look at the fullback areas. I think maybe one of them is probably already sorted. I'm gonna say you're gonna put Trent in there, right? Or Bradley, Alexander-Arnold. Now, this is the conversation that I was listening to, and I was listening to quite a lot of people talk about. Would you, obviously Robertson played during the week, right? And obviously Slot spoke about, Robertson, someone asking the question about the left back situation, and he spoke about, Robertson and pre-season, not having one kind of thing, coming back, obviously injured, all of that kind of stuff, right? Playing at the Euros and etc. etc. How do you see the left back situation now? And first of all, who starts left back? And then second part, how do you see this left back situation?
Tsimikas starts, left back situation. It's techie. I think Tsimikas.
I listened to you guys, you and you ends on the membership thing, and like the points that you guys were making for and against in terms of like Robbo and Tsimikas. Like I just felt like it was kind of interesting just to kind of see how you guys are even seeing it. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so like with Tsimikas, he's performing much better this season. Played obviously less games, but in the Champions League, obviously played majority. In the Premier League, he's played less, but the stats look better. He has more touches on the ball per 90. He's
how do you say that? Yeah.
Defensively, he's doing more per 90. He's winning more duels per 90. He's covering more ground per 90. Everything's better. Just everything's. I don't think Robertson had a better statistic than him. The problem you've got with Tsimikas, though, is as fans, we don't really trust him to be a number one like that. And I don't think Slot really trusts him to be a number one like that because he had a really, really good preseason and Slot still wanted and Slot still went and just put him back. Put Robertson back at left back and benched Tsimikas. So that's an indicator to me he's maybe not too convinced on Tsimikas, although he has been performing well. He has stepped up. Over in recent weeks, I think you're seeing Slot starting to side with Tsimikas a bit more. You're seeing Tsimikas come on in certain games. In the Arsenal game, he came on. He affected the game straight away. Like, he won his battles. Saka weren't getting at his play anymore. Saka then got subbed. And I'm looking at this, obviously, the situation right now. And I think Liverpool are going to be opportunistic in the market, as they always are. I think they're going to look at, getting a player in for more competition. And it will be down to Tsimikas and Robbo to fire out to see who can either get number one, number two, or number third spot with the other left-sided centre-back or full-back or whoever we try and go and get. Robertson is someone that, one of my favourite players in the Klopp era. When he's on it, I think he's Mr. Reliable, Braveheart, as some people like to call him. He's going to have to adapt his game. Maybe he starts playing as a centre-back. But he's not going to be that same Robbo anymore. He's struggling to close down the distances. He's getting beaten very, very often now. He's playing a different role, so he's having to learn that as well. And Slot's not going to have time to just keep playing Robertson to see what happens, innit? Like, at one point, he's going to have to look at what he's got on the bench and be like, you know what, Tsimikas, you're going to have to play. And that's the way I see it, man. So for now, for me, it's Tsimikas' position until otherwise, isn't it?
Just before I ask my question, Robert's always big up Robert. He said, do you think because good left backs are slim pickings, the club decided to wait for another season of data for the left back position?
I don't think positions are small pickings, though. I think people are just not creative. Like, when we signed Robertson, did you think, there was pure left backs at the time? I don't remember what left backs were about at the time. But
I definitely didn't want Robertson. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. But I think Teo Hernandez or Leo or whatever, Teo Hernandez or Lucas Hernandez, one of them was available, innit? Maybe. That was it. There was no other standout left backs. It was it was the same names. Can we get Alphonso Davies? Can we get this player? It was always that. Then obviously we moved on. It was Gvardio, it was Inacio, it was this person. It's just the same, bruv. I think if Liverpool sign a player and he does a decent job, like if you get a Bradley equivalent, if Bradley was a left back, I think Bradley starts. That's what I think it is. If we had a Bradley equivalent left back in the academy, I think he goes and plays more games. We don't have that, so we have to just look at the market. And I think Liverpool just be opportunistic. Like if Liverpool find out Ryan Ait-Nouri's got a 10 million release clause, they're eating that up. You know what I mean? If they find out Anthony Robinson's got a 12 million release clause, they're eating that up. If they find out some other centre-back's got a 20 million release clause that can play left-back, they're eating that up. And they're just going to be opportunistic about it. And I think the fact that there's been discussions of the left-back area for 2 seasons now, with, do we sign the left-back that can play centre-back or centre-back that can play left-back as well? Do we do this? Do we do that? I think it's just a matter of time now. It's a matter of time. Just Liverpool go and get someone. They're just waiting on the right opportunity because they're not in a rush because you've got 2 players there and the third if you wanted to play Joe Gomez there.
I forget that kind of, you're right, actually. It's true. And we know how Liverpool stay as well. Like that kind of ties in really to what, my question was in regards to what you just said there. And again, like I said, I was listening to what you guys were saying and I asked the question there, yeah. Obviously, you mentioned Vardio. You mentioned the likes of Inacio. You got Bastoni. To be fair, Bastoni was playing right side as centre back at the Euros, which was hilarious. He's played well there. You see this kind of mold of full backs. Do you think, in your eyes, and you can pick any player that you wanted, realistic, unrealistic, whatever, do you think that now the way that Slot plays in your perception, that's the kind of fullback he probably potentially wants, i.e. Calafiori, Akanji, Vardio, those centre-back / left-back types? Or do you think it is more Anthony Robertson? He ain't playing centre-back. I don't think he can play that role. Those type of fullbacks where it's I need you to be able to just be a fullback and a fullback only? Or do you see Slot looking at, people spoke about Gertruda, for example, can play, I think he can play right back, left back and centre-back, that kind of, that kind of mold? What do you, or how do you kind of see? And again, you can use any players as an example, but or do you think now we just need to stick with the Robbo type of fullback?
I think it depends. I think it depends because, like, I don't think, like I wouldn't think Gravenberch or Konate would necessarily be a slot type of player. Like, I don't look at Konate and think, yeah, Slot would have looked at him and said, and earmarked him as, yeah, you're my centre back if he was at another club. It's what you're given, isn't it? And I think you have to make do with what you've got, and you've got to look at what you've got and say, how can we go and help this player? So, look, Gvardiol's, I think he's a very unique player. I think any team would want Gvardiol. Yeah. But then, if would you go and get like a Dan Burn? That's more of a centre back that can play left back.
Yeah,
that isn't the best at either. He's decent, but he's not the best at either. And now it's like, just because Gvardiol can do it, just because Ake can do it, can Liverpool find someone that can just do that? Because Calafiori, he hasn't looked that great. I haven't looked at him and thought, raw. Like, I know he scored a good goal, but I haven't looked at him and thought, raw. Like, yeah, man, like, yeah, he's that guy since he's come in. I haven't looked at it like that. And that's the only, like, question I've got is when you're looking at players like that, do Liverpool go and earmark a centre back that can play left back, or are they opportunistic and look, if we go with a player like that, then we're going to try and play like this. If we can't get that, then we're going to do this. That's the only question. Because like Ike Nori as an example, he's comfortable enough to know he might not play as a centre back, but he can definitely come into midfield and be comfortable, very very comfortable. He's comfortable. Anthony Robinson maybe not as comfortable, but going forward and getting back defensively and recovering and supporting Virgil van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? If he's getting or supporting his winger. And then also being able to handle someone defensively 1v1 is something that I think he'll be very, very good at. And then he could make a difference in terms of how Liverpool play. Because now it means, we can leave Anthony Robinson 1v1 with someone because 9 times out of 10 he will deal with it. And it means that now Diaz can stay really, really high, or Gakpo can stay really, really high, as opposed to doubling up. That's the thing you've got to think about.
True. That's another area. Yeah, true.
It's all those types of questions. So it just depends, man. It just like Tsimikas and Robbo aren't the same player.
Yeah. True.
But there's pros and cons as to why you'd want one. Same as Bradley. Bradley and Trent aren't the same player, and we saw even last season Trent played completely differently to how Bradley played. But they both had good games in certain times of the season. There were certain times where Bradley was amazing, making overlapping runs. There was other times when Trent was controlling game from the center of the pitch. It's all different players. It's just about how you put them together. So. I don't know. It just depends on when you look at like a centre back, or a left back, or left side centre back. What's the like 3 main categories you look at for them to be really, really good at? And I think that's where you go for you yourself. If you were Slot, you then make your decision based off that. Because I know people have different reasonings as to why they want this player instead of that player and so forth.
I would say in 1v1s, that's one of the things I look at. If I'm looking at in today's game, I do want my fullbacks to be relatively comfortable. Not relative. I want them to actually be quite comfortable on the ball. Not afraid to be able to turn out. That bugs me that Robbo doesn't do that. Like, I don't know why, because I'm left-footed as well. So I know the struggle that he goes through when he tries to do when he doesn't do it at times. But it bugs me that he doesn't do it enough. And I feel like at that level, for someone who's like at this level, I feel like you should be able to kind of do that, because I get onto the, to the man them if they don't do that, kind of thing, turn the fuck out. So yeah, being able to turn out 1v1 duels. If I have to pick a third, I've already got 1v1 duels, so I'm actually kind of good.
Yeah,
being able to dribble.
Cool. See, mine's completely different in regards to that. As in, I have one of them, but like for me, is that you got to be able to run for me primarily. Like if you can cover ground for me, like I
feel like every fullback can kind of like. I can't think of one fullback who doesn't really run though.
No, but you see, like
unless you mean like that's like one of your main things. Like if that's what you mean, then fair.
For me, like you see how Robertson used to be like, woo, just zooming up and down the left hand side, and then coming back to defend, and then overlapping again, and then coming back to defend. It's that. You see, like Gvardiol, we don't do that. Gvardiol plays,
but he doesn't need to though. That's the thing.
Exactly, because he doesn't need to because of the way Liverpool play. I'm saying for me, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's different. I'm saying for me, you got to be able to run. Like you have to be able to run because if all else fails, I just know, cool, you're gonna be able to get back in position. You're going to work hard. So for me, you got to be able to run. Like I like your Poros. I like Udogis that can run. I like, I just like fullbacks like that. I like Walkers. I like your girl Clichy's back in the day. Kolarovs. I like them, man. Them man that were there and they were there as well. Where you knew defensively they're here and going forwards are there as well. For me, it's being able to go and your end product being good. So can you deliver a ball into the box? Can you go and play a pass? And then for me, and I guess that means just being comfortable in the ball. And then for me, right, is having the IQ to recognize space. So having the IQ like a Ben White or a Gvardiol or someone to recognize, I can come inside now and get the ball like Partey did. Or I'm going to make an overlap now. I'm not going to just always just come inside. Sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I can see the space is there, right? And Diaz has come inside. I'm just going to make a run there, you know, because I've spotted it. And then you get the ball and you can create stuff. For me, those are the three things I look at. Which, again, this is what I'm saying. We've got different opinions on what we'd want. Slightly similar, but a bit different. That's why I said it just depends on, again, what Liverpool can get and then what Slot wants. Because what Slot wants might not be what Liverpool can get.
And we've seen that happen more than enough. I was just looking now as you were speaking. Alphonso Davies, his contract expires next year in the summer. Would you go and get him?
Yes, because opportunistic.
And
you might
get it for free as well.
Irrespective even if you get it for like 20 million, right? Irrespective of if you think, oh, he's not even a top 10, top 5 left back or top 3 left back in the world, while Liverpool getting him, he's still probably better. Still probably better than what Liverpool have got. He improves what Liverpool have got, and that's what it has to be. It's not about looking at everyone else. It's looking at how another player can go and affect and impact your team. And if you've got an Alphonso Davies, making again runs like that,
he can do up and down.
It causes mayhem now. All of a sudden, it's like raw. Like it's gonna give Diaz so much space if he comes inside, which he can do because he's comfortable in the ball. He's played centrally for Canada. We've seen it. You can cause problems.
That was all playing up front and that, like, what's going on here? Like, nah, man, I agree, man. Big up Pops in the building. Hope you're doing well, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right, let's get back to it then. So obviously I put Gravenberch in there. These next two positions are kind of interesting. Obviously McAllister didn't play, to my knowledge, on the week. I don't think he played in that Carabao Cup game. Yeah, because it was Morton, Endo, and I can't remember who that was. Jones. Who would you have alongside Gravenberch in this game?
Personally,
you've only got McAllister and Szoboszlai, and
Jones.
Okay. I don't have too much of a problem with that. Jones and Mac double pivot. Jerry already knows, but if that doesn't end well, speak. Number 10 position.
Szoboszlai.
So you're putting Zobo back in.
Yeah.
Again, I've got no. Listen, I don't have no beef with Zobo. Everyone else seems to hate this guy for some weird reason. But I feel like he's coming.
Do you know what it is? They've done the thing. I think you've used this analogy before, innit? They've gone into a relationship, seen a thing on Insta, and been like, yeah, man, like my girl, that's how she's gonna be, man. She's gonna be sexy all the time, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Bikini, in a bikini all the time. She's always traveling and stuff. And then you buck her and realize she's just a homebody, bruv. And it's just a facade. And now you're struggling to get over the fact you're like, no, like I thought we're going to Dubai. And she's like, no, I just want to chill. Like those pictures, I took like 20 in that time. I'm just releasing them slowly. You're like, right.
You know?
And that's what it is.
Like,
and that's what it is.
Unreleased tracks in that, like.
Exactly. People just looking at it thinking, I thought he was Gerrard. Like, and he's not that, innit? But you need runners in the team, I think. And against Brighton, when they play with the ball, I think you want to transition as well. And I think he's good at that. And I think, to be fair, that dynamic of Jones, Szoboszlai, Jones, and Gravenberch has worked. It worked against Chelsea well. And I don't see why it can't work against Brighton, especially considering Szoboszlai was rested. Yes, in the Carabao Cup. So
there's got no issues with that. Left wing, I'm gonna assume we're gonna go with Luke Shaw. Unless you've changed your mind. And
great example with Lucho, yeah. I even forgot. You see the goal. You see Gakpo's goals, yeah. The first one was a good finish.
Yes,
like outside, shot, caught a good finish. But you see the second one where it's just a straight line and he shoots. Yeah. Diaz is finished. He's having to cut inside and beat 2 men to go and finish. That's the difference. That's the difference. Where
I get you.
When you're playing a low block, you're going to be in that situation more than in a situation where you're just running with bare space. And that Gakpo only started to score goals when the game started to get stretched. After he scored his good goal from outside the box. Again, he don't score goals like that often, innit? So I can't use that one goal to be like, yeah, he's not Coutinho with it. He's not going to cut him inside again. You know, I know I'm not going to see that next week. I'm not putting a bet down to see, Gakpo's going to cut inside and score from outside the box again. It's just...
No, I hear it. Listen, man, was it you or Roms or one of you said it? He's just like Rashford. Like they play very similar.
He's a B-Tech Rashford.
You sir. Yeah, that's it.
Like, have you not seen him when Rashford gets the ball, he cuts inside and then plays that cross to the back post?
To the back post,
They do the same thing, man. Honestly, they've got the same genetics.
Yo, I said a B-Tech Rashford. I remember sitting there just thinking, bro, that is deep, man. What's going on? I remember just sitting there thinking, what's going on in the game? That man said B-Tech Rashford. Like I wanted to flick up, but I said, I'm gonna leave it for.
No, honestly, I feel like making a compilation of them doing the same thing at the same time. You know them ones when you see it like side
by side thing, like see the same kind of. And the thing is, because they're quite, and I said it though in the chat. Like I feel like Rashford is more skillful. Like I've seen him do more skill when he's on the ball in terms.
I think Rashford's a better dribbler.
Yeah,
Rashford's a better dribbler. I think Gakpo's probably a bit more defensively switched on.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think they're very similar in terms of like when you see it, even the way they strike the ball, it just looks the same. Man.
Yeah, it's very like bro, they're on the power thing. Like they're fully on. Just like I need obviously, and even then, kind of close, isn't it? I'm thinking like Rashford, like he's got a way that he strikes the ball, and I can tell he's someone who works on that quite a lot. I'm not saying Gakpo doesn't. Obviously, they both do, but the way he strikes the ball at times, I can never forget that free kick he scored against Chelsea.
That was ridiculous.
That was fucking mad. That was mad, bro. He struck that from far, like, and the keeper couldn't even get there. I was like, how are you able to get there?
I feel like it was like just inside their half. Like it was like,
yeah. Like as in he. If I can find it now, so I can't show, but if I can find it, I'll see exactly where it is. But I just remember I watched it the other day. Literally, just randomly, it came up like Rashford goals, and I remember thinking like, like that kind of free kick was a bit.
I'm not gonna lie. When I see Rashford goals, I look at it and I think all you need is a good arm round your shoulder. You know, like if he had like if like Jurgen Klopp got his arm round him, I think Jurgen Klopp would have made him into a killer. Like it would have. I think if Rashford had Jurgen Klopp as a manager, you see what you saw from like Mane and all of that. Yeah, I think he'd have been 10 times worse because man would be licking shots.
All the time, like on a stupid.
The pace would have been dumb. Like it would have been. Yeah, man. I think Mane would have to play down the middle. I think Bobby would be struggling for minutes. I think we've had a rush.
I'm just seeing the goal again, bro. Like the way he struck that, it was like inside their half, but like in the middle. Bro, he struck it so mad. The keeper, bro, he just couldn't even get there. But I agree, man. I think both players are relatively similar. And to be honest, obviously, because of the way Rashford's career is going at this moment in time, obviously, we don't know now when the new manager comes in what it looks like, but let's put it this way. There was at one stage where I thought, Rashford's actually one of the coldest wingers out there. I don't think I've ever thought that with Gakpo. And obviously that tells you what you need to know. Up front.
As well, I'm just watching it. You know, he's standing in the middle of the, like, it's like a penalty. It's right. There's no angle. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Right. It's not like to the left. It's not to the right where you can like, arc his run and whip it. He's had to just hit it like dead on into a corner and beat him with pace. It's a joke. It's a joke of a free kick.
Oh, joke. Lamptey was out of position when Gakpo scored. When Diaz scored, Lamptey and their centre back were on him. Yeah. I saw the goal. It was a good goal because I was thinking like, what did Jerry say? Like he sat him down. It's funny because I see, Lamptey's so short. Yeah,
he sat down but got back up straight away.
Yeah, he got back up like so quickly. Like it just looked joke because he's so short. Like it's like and he's moving mad quick. I was thinking like, bro, are you okay? Like is everything all right, bro? Is everything all right? Rashford head down too much. He has no win. Yeah. And listen, look, I think with Rashford, it's a confidence thing at this point. And when you've got at this moment in time, such a shit manager who just doesn't seem to be able to use you in the right way, whatever way that is. Clearly, there was a way because there was a season where he was bagging all 30 goals and doing whatever he was doing before. Like something about him. But listen, man, that's Rashford's problem. I'm not even gonna get onto that. He plays for Manchester United, so I could even care less. Obviously, I'll go with Núñez up front. Of course, I think obviously we ain't got no other strikers, so and I don't see him going with Gakpo up top, man. But yeah, that's the 11. Kind of the same, to be honest with you. I like the midfield because that was one of my questions about the midfield in terms of would I play McAllister? But I thought, you know what? I don't need the Terrier in there. I just need a bit more ball players. We only need one of those runners, and that's obviously Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, and Gravenberch. Okay, between the two, sorry, in your opinion, you'll know this way better than I would. Between the two, who do you think is more comfortable being the first receiver?
What do you mean?
So who do you think the one that they're going to try and find first in that midfield? If let's say they're both in that double pivot, who do you think the defense and goalkeeper, who are they looking to give the ball to first? And then who do you think is the better in the second phase of play?
I think they look to go and give it. It's a weird one. I think you always look to go and give the player that's in like further up and in space the ball. I think that's just always it. If you can go and break the line, if they can go, I think they always talk about it. If you can go and find Diaz or even Jones making a running behind and he gets it, he's in mad space like Saka did. That's the best pass. I think Jones. Gravenberch doesn't really lose the ball either, but I feel like Jones looks like it's. I think either or. I think they're both. I think Jones is a tad bit better at keeping the ball in those deep areas. Like I think Gravenberch is better. If he's in transition and he's being pressed and he can do that little that little step across, let it run across him, and then he can beat you with it. I think he's way better at that. I think he can cover more ground. I think that's where he's effective. I think in those areas, I think Gravenberch don't lose the ball, but he keeps it. Whereas Jones can draw 3 players to him and still keep the ball, if that makes sense. You can do that and still keep the ball. Whereas Gravenberch won't give it away, but it's just pass. I get it, cool, bounce it off, move into space again, then kind of drop the shoulder and drive into space. So it just depends. I think I was actually looking at statistically. Like in the league, I think it's him for England anyway. Well, in the English Premier League, it's only him, Lavia, and someone else that can that do that the best in terms of keeping the ball.
Who?
Deep Jones, Lavia, and someone else. I forgot. I'll send it. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you again. You looked at it like, oh. Like man don't funny. Like
it's actually funny because you just mentioned Lavia, and obviously he was a player that we obviously looked to sign last summer or whatever. And it's funny because had we had signed him, would we have gotten Gravenberch?
Probably
and obviously, not. Fast forward, getting Slot, and look at the way that Gravenberch is playing. Had Lavia been here, I think you would have just seen what Gravenberch is doing. I think you just would have seen Lavia just doing the exact same thing.
Yeah,
that's why I always say with Gravenberch, listen, he's performing really, really well, and he deserves the plaudits that he's getting, and 100%, like he is actually performing well. But that's why sometimes I look at him and think, yeah, but I feel like it wouldn't have really mattered who would have been in there, so to speak. Like obviously, in terms of we needed that profile, but like. You could have had Zubomendi, you could have had Lavia in there, and I feel like they would be doing equally the same thing that he's kind of doing. That's why at the moment I don't have him at that kind of. Obviously, I don't know. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. So I'm just guessing at this point. But when you just said Lavia, it just made me think, that's kind of interesting that Lavia is there because I feel like Lavia is for me a better midfielder in terms of. I actually think he's better defensively as well. He's a bit more switched on defensively than a Gravenberch, but. Again, the stats will probably say different because Gravenberch has been doing his thing.
This season, probably your argument's not there. But
my argument's not there. I couldn't argue this point to anybody, but I think it's more of an argument to have later on. Obviously, Chelsea being Chelsea at this moment in time, you wait and obviously they're doing their thing. If Chelsea were to get top 4 now and then push on next season, I think you'll start to see it more next season where you're like, oh shit, maybe Lavia maybe there was a reason why, you know what I mean, we wanted to sign him, in the first place. But listen, that's neither here nor there. And it doesn't really.
Do you know what it is? And just what I want people to kind of understand. When people say Jones holds onto the ball too much, there's a reason why he does that. There's a reason why he does it. He doesn't no one can tell me they haven't seen Jones just move it 1 and 2 touch. We've seen it often. He holds onto the ball because, right, we still in our heads, we're in that Jurgen Klopp, get the ball forwards as quick as possible. You need to have a player in there. And I remember people used to say the same thing about Gini Wijnaldum. You need someone in the team that can go and be like, nope, I'm not doing it there, and we're gonna just keep the ball. We're not gonna make it an end-to-end game because you on the screen see a pass. You're like, he's got to release it quicker. It's like, nah, there's nuance to when you release the ball, and you need to have players that can keep it. When you go and look at even Dan, what City would never say this about Gundogan, or Bernardo. I've seen them take bare touches on the ball. They do that. Then they turn back left. Then they turn back right before they go and release it. They're doing that on purpose. You need to trust the fact that the play, if you
would never chat about Gundogan.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Though. It's if you weren't releasing the ball quick enough, Slot wouldn't have him playing. Do you get it? Slot would just be like, brother, because that's so important for what a club's trying to do. So you see with a Jurgen Klopp, that kind of makes sense because if he wants to get the ball very, very forward as quickly as possible and you're not releasing it, I've seen him get angry at the fact, you ain't played the pass or whatever. Slot doesn't operate like that. So Slot's not looking at, can we get the ball forward as quickly as possible? In the same way we speak about other players, he wouldn't play them if they didn't release the ball quick enough.
True.
He wouldn't play them. So it's about having that balance. Even the pass when was it against Chelsea when we played Salah? I think he played Salah through and Gakpo scored, but it was offside. Do you remember?
Yeah. I can't lie, I was a bit angry.
But guess what? Watch it again, right? If he plays it earlier, right?
Yeah.
The centre back's following Salah already. The defender was following Salah already.
I'm gonna watch the goal right.
Get up, but you will see it. The centre back's watching to play Salah. It's as Jones creeps up, right? The centre back then pushes onto him, and then he releases Salah, so Salah can be free to play the pass. If you play Salah earlier, he's not getting that crossover off. The guy's right in front of him. The guy's gonna just track his run. Watch it.
Sorry, guys. I have to watch it because I can't lie. When he didn't play it, I was like, brother, what are you on, my guy? Hold on, it's just loading up now. Big up everybody, by the way, man. We're going to end it in literally 2 minutes. And as I said, you'll be redirected to Enz's stream. He's got one literally coming on in half an hour. Was it after this point? No. I'm busting up because the show when Jones didn't get the penalty, and I was like, bro, why didn't you just shoot from before?
Hold on, did they not show it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think you probably have to go to an extended highlights kind of thing.
Yeah, let me see here because I've got it here. Maybe on the Liverpool one.
Big up, Cav, man. Big up, Cav. Hope you're doing well, my bro. But either way, from what I can remember anyway of it, obviously Jerry can see it there, but from what I can remember of it, I just remember thinking, Jones, I just need to release the ball a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Yeah, I'm watching it now because the keeper, that's bad. The keeper pings the ball. Szoboszlai wins the first header. Jones wins the header. He gets it back off Nunes. If he plays, he does it at the right time. Watch the body positioning of the centre back. He does it as the centre back turns to face him. He releases him. So Colwell's got to go. Do you know what I mean? And you have to play that pass.
So you're blaming Salah, is what you're saying?
No. I'm not blaming Salah. I'm just saying it's just one of them ones where it's a fine margin. Salah's not offside by bare. I think Salah could have waited. Yeah, Salah could have timed it. Jones could have played it a split second earlier, but I don't think it's oh my God, how could you not release it? Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's one of them ones. I agree with that.
Jones is good when he's fetching the ball from deep or when LFC are high in possession up forward. Gavin Birch has been good making diagonals and switching play and moving play forward. Fairs? No, fairs. No, man. Listen, man. It's going to be interesting to kind of see. Of course, listen, but this is just our predicted lineup. So it's going to be interesting what kind of midfield he does because, like I said, Brighton are not. You're not. This ain't like a physical type of game like that. Like this is we need ballers on the pitch. So maybe you might need Curtis Jones and Gravenberch in the middle of the park, and then at least then the running is being taken care of. Regardless of obviously, yes, we want Szoboszlai to be way better when he's in those positions further forward. Of course, I'll definitely agree with that. But in terms of everything else, I feel like having Szoboszlai there complementing those two, I feel like it'd be okay, and he'd be the senior player. I think. I'm sure he's the oldest out of the three. Yeah, he's the oldest. Jones doesn't have that eye of the needle pass like a Bernardo. We can't compare them, man. I'm not saying that obviously Jones isn't on the Bernardo Silva level, and I don't think Jerry's saying that either. But I think more in terms of similarities of the type of player, that they are. What's your score prediction, bro? Before we head on out of here.
3-1 Liverpool. We're at home as well, isn't it?
Yes.
3-1 Liverpool. Maybe even like 2-0, yeah, I think it'll be 3-1, 2-0. I think Slot's very intelligent, and I think he will learn from what you saw against Brighton, and they'll make small adjustments as well.
No, fair. I'll go with 3-2 again. I just think that they will score. I just think they could. Welbeck.
2 though.
Oh, 2. Yeah. Well, I mean, they scored 2 the other day, so I can't see.
So they're saying Welbeck double, yeah. 8 and 10.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go over Welbeck double. I got him in my FPO as well, by the way, so I need him to fucking. It's mad. I ain't got no Liverpool full defenders in there, so I don't mind.
My FPL's in the mud,
But to be fair, I've not looked at the last couple of weeks, my one. So
no, I haven't looked at mine in like a month, 2 months.
Yeah, then yours is definitely
look,
gone to the shit.
This is my team, yeah. Let me know if my team's calm. Let me just see my team, yeah. Got my deadlines there. Team's looking horrible. I've got Gibbs White
injured.
I've got Gibbs White in there. I've got Kudus in there. I've got Minter in there. I've got Van der Ven in there. They're all injured. I've got Henderson in goal for Wolves. Virgil, Robinson, Lewis. I had Kudus, Gibbs White, and Kunku, Salah, Haaland, Havertz, Vardy.
The thing is that the Haaland and Vardy one isn't even a mad one. Haaland, obviously, Vardy because he gets goals for Leicester.
And then Havertz has been getting goals as well.
Havertz has been getting goals as well.
Yeah, some transfers, isn't it?
Yeah. No, guys, as always, man, big up to everybody who's obviously been tuned in and locked in this early morning. As I said, you will be redirected. Ends will be going live in literally 27 minutes. So yeah, I will be on over there. I'll be on over there. So guys, make sure you obviously chop in. Big up Jerry Love for obviously joining me this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I will be back Sunday/Monday. I don't know. I kind of want to chill this weekend, so I don't know, man. Maybe I might. I don't know what games.
You're taking liberties, bro. You got man here waiting for GTV. You're telling man you want to chill.
No, okay. Look. Let me see what games are on Sunday. There must be like a 4 p.m. kind of kickoff on Sunday. Sunday. Oh my god. Oh, Man City. Yeah, okay. See, look, Man United versus Chelsea. That's on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna chill and relax. I might do a stream on a Sunday evening. Then I might just do it the Sunday evening after the game. So what's that, like 6:30, 7 o'clock kind of thing? Maybe 8 o'clock. I'll just do it then. I'll see if anybody's about, and I'll give you guys my reaction. But yeah, next week as well, I will have I think I told you guys already yesterday. I will have like a couple videos, not long. They're obviously pre-recorded, not long videos. Taking a look at different things. I've labeled it the playlist Nostalgia Merchant. So obviously, hopefully you guys like it anyway. I don't want to speak too much too soon. But yeah, I'll be dropping a few of those next week as well. So yeah, just make sure you guys stay locked in, stay tuned, and I will catch you guys soon. Yes. Well, really, it depends on what game you want to What game you want to do? You know what, guys? Ask Ends on his stream next. What match we should take a look at.
I say you do a match that no one's watching, bruv, this week. Like, I don't
That's
know.
why, bro. I don't. We
That's
both got the channels.
It's versus Bournemouth or something. So one of those games, bruv.
Listen, I'm good with that. It's mad because if Brighton weren't playing Liverpool, I would have done a Brighton game because to analyze those kind of matches are good. Yeah, I don't know who's playing this weekend. You've got Fulham, Brentford. Oh, that's Monday. You got Southampton, Everton. It's the same time as us, though. Who's playing but not at the same time as us? Oh, Newcastle versus Arsenal. You've got
what is Liverpool 3 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff and all the other games.
Bro,
it's annoying. That's sometimes that's why I always hate Saturdays because it's just jarring. You got Wolves versus Palace at 5:30. So it's either Wolves versus Palace or Newcastle versus Arsenal. And then on Sunday, yeah, the Man United Chelsea game would be the only rule. Oh, Tottenham versus Villa though. Ooh, that one will be interesting. Guys, let us know, man. Let us know when I jump on Ends. You guys can ask him. And then we'll take it from there, man. Big up everybody. Love Jerry for joining in. We'll catch you guys soon. Peace.